Hello, we are trainees from CCNA Team 12 and Team 17. My name is Eric. With my colleagues, Kish and April, we are presenting our proposal, an integrated approach to factors promoting physical activity for cognitive health. Non-pharmacological approaches to prevent and manage dementia are a priority. An influential Lancet report identified 12 modifiable risk factors for dementia that together account for 40% of the risk, with hearing loss accounting for 8%, 2% to physical inactivity, and 4% to social isolation. Sensory, cognitive, and physical health are closely connected, and all three factors could be affected by social psychological factor.
Understanding the connection between each of these factors may be beneficial for dementia prevention. Among potential approaches to reduce dementia risk, the strongest evidence is for physical activity. Yet physical activity rates are low, as around 55% of older Canadians are physically inactive. Cognitive impairments present a functional barrier to physical activity, as those experiencing cognitive decline are less likely to participate in physical activity. Thus, physical activity can be beneficial, but cognitive impairments may make it difficult to reap those benefits. Further, sensory deficits can also interact with cognitive function. Specifically, sensory loss is highly prevalent in older adults and is a risk factor for dementia. Importantly, those with sensory impairments are less likely to participate in physical activity, such that their risk of dementia is compounded by sensory loss and a lack of participation in physical activity. In addition, social, psychological, and demographic factors can also influence the participation and functioning in everyday life. Now, past studies have examined each of these factors separately. However, in our study, we aim to investigate the connections between each of these factors to promote better cognitive health.
By combining the cross-team expertise from Team 12, 17, and the CCNA Stigma and Social Inclusion Group, here, we are proposing this conceptual model describing the connections between sensory, physical activity, social psychological factors, and the biological and physiological factors with cognition. This model will help us understand the unique and interactive contributions of each factor on the uptake of physical activity as a strategy to reduce the risk of and manage dementia. We hypothesize that physical activity affects cognition directly or indirectly, or in combination with other domains. One direct connection is between physical activity and cognition, where physical inactivity increases the risk for dementia. One indirect connection could be that one's implicit views of aging, such as self-stigma, could moderate physical activity participation, thereby influencing cognitive health. A combination of factors will be that both physical activity and sensory factors are associated with cognition. As suggested in the Lancet report, hearing loss and physical inactivity together contribute to 10% of the risk for dementia. In this cross-sectional study, we will explore these patterns across a range of cognitive groups, including a normal cognition group, a mild cognitive impairment group, and a mild dementia group.
For timeline and feasibility, first I will be talking about the planning stage. Here we identified the research team and the sites for data collection, which include the University of Waterloo, University of Toronto, Amazon's Mechanical Turk, and other sites such as the Canadian Centre for Activity and Aging at Western. We have also conducted a literature review and drafted a timeline. Next, for study one, or stage one for study preparations, we will select questionnaires and apply for ethics and pre-register our protocol for data availability. For stage 2, when conducting the study, we will leverage the experience we have gained in working with older adults and collecting and analyzing survey data on each of the factors we plan on investigating. And over the course of the pandemic, we have adapted to predominantly online data collection. So throughout the next year, the effect of COVID on our data collection is still unclear. So in order to ensure high feasibility of the proposed project, we will use these acquired skills to both recruit participants and obtain online questionnaires. These online questionnaires will also be distributed among the previously mentioned sites. For stage 3, for data analysis and reporting, we will expand on knowledge of advanced statistical analysis and data management. We will present these results at conferences and prepare for manuscripts. Finally, to ensure the successful completion of this study, we will meet weekly and also meet monthly with our faculty mentors. We will also contribute 4 hours per week to running the study, as well as consult with Dr. Karen and Miro.
In the current study, we've highlighted 3 expected results. The first is to identify connections between the factors: cognitive, physical activity, sensory, social, psychological, using a conceptual model. The second is to identify how the connections may vary depending on gender and/or sex on different levels of cognitive status. The third is to provide preliminary information for future in-person studies focusing on the person-centered multifactorial interventions to promote cognitive and brain health. We expect our project will have implications theoretically, practically, and personally. The potentially modifiable risk factors for dementia we have discussed have been studied in isolation, but in this study, we will gain new theoretical knowledge about how they combine and impact cognitive health in older adults. Practically, we will gain knowledge that may help identify barriers to physical activity engagement and in turn address barriers to promote cognitive health. For example, even if laboratory studies show benefits of physical activity in a controlled research environment, older adults may not actually engage in physical activity in their everyday life due to barriers, such as negative use of aging and hearing or vision loss. We want to translate what we've learned to develop more effective integrated interventions and to achieve behavior change to promote cognitive health. Personally, the project will impact trainees greatly by granting experience in collaborating across domains and honing project management skills. The trainees will expand their knowledge and research skills regarding the intersection of physical activity, cognition, social, and sensory factors, as well as learn to effectively translate this knowledge to an academic audience and lay audience as well. Specifically, results will be shared and communicated through national and international conference presentations, scientific journals, and media, such as infographics, magazines, submissions, forums, and social media. The study and our data analysis plan will be pre-registered on Open Science Framework to publicly promote transparency, reproducibility, and knowledge translation. Importantly, we will share our findings with participants and other older adults interested in learning more about how to prevent and/or reduce their risk of cognitive decline. Our proposed project will include study variables related to the Woman, Sex, Gender, and Dementia Cross-Cutting Program. We aim to recruit an equal number of males and females, as well as an equal number of participants in each of the cognitive status groups. By recruiting these participants, we will contribute to this cross-cutting program in our attempts to understand how each directly, indirectly, or in combination with each other and other factors contribute to engagement in physical activity for cognitive health. We aim to contribute to the CCNA Stigma and Social Isolation Working Group in our analysis of how social psychological factors may influence participation in physical activity in subpopulations varying in cognitive health. Assuming an award of $10,000, we plan for a majority of the funds, $9,000 to be precise, to be allotted to participant reimbursement. Participants will be recruited from multiple sites associated with each of the trainees and/or collaborators. Based on our estimation, we will recruit 200 participants from each of the 3 cognitive groups. Participants are expected to complete our online questionnaire within 1 hour and will receive $15 as reimbursement. To promote knowledge translation, we are planning on submitting our work to various scientific journals and are estimating $1,000 for open access publication fees. The faculty mentors and home departments and universities will cover the cost for the trainees to present at conferences. If we are awarded the additional $5,000 for the Women, Sex, Gender, and Dementia Award, we plan to use the funds to recruit additional participants, which will add to our overall sample size and power. These funds may also be used to cover additional publications, conference, and travel fees. Thank you very much for your attention. And here's a full list of our trainees, investigators, and collaborators. Thank you very much.